Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Widener Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960, or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Widener Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Widener Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and Evil Evan enjoyed by Hollywood celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Widener Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is the key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift of remembrance that makes you laugh and cry all at the same time? Whatever gift of grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com. Mention the Mike Widener Show, get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books, bringing your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. And also, the Mike Widener Show can be heard on the MikeWidenerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page, facebook.com/the Mike Widener Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and Apple Music, and more. Take the Mike Widener Show with you on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Widener Show on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter today, and check out the Mike Widener Show merchandise at the MikeWidenerShow.com. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, and a lot of goodies. Go to Amazon.com and check the Mike Widener Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, including me and Molson-Zia's great books like Missing, Once, Wrinkles, also more T-shirts, pop sockets, and hoodies, and a lot more, go to Amazon.com and check out the Me and Molson-Zia store, and make sure you order today. And don't forget to support us on Anchor FM/support, and also on PayPal, and check out the Mike Widener Show. Make sure you donate to the MikeWidenerShow.com and give generously as well. We're here with a terrific gentleman who is just an amazing talent, and his little group, by the way, is a collective of top producers of artists and writers, and they collaborate. And of course, he's also an artist as well too. We'll be talking about that in a two-way role. And of course, he's touring as an indie artist for a couple of years, and his latest single, Jerad Finck, sold 57,000 copies and debuted on Billboard. And he's got the latest one that's out right now, and we'll talk about more his amazing journey and live, ladies and gentlemen. He's on the road right now in Denver, Colorado, but he's from the great Pacific Northwest of Spokane, Washington. The well-traveled and very multi-talented BLAZAR, or we should call him as Jerad Finck. Jerad, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
It's good. It's BLAZAR.
BLAZAR. Okay, I tried to say that, but I guess that thing just came at me. It's like, you know how that goes. It's very powerful.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah.
Of course, we talked about off the air too. It's like pulsars, quasars, blazars. I think that BLAZAR was really messing me up. So we got to watch out for those things from space. So
yeah.
Oh my gosh. So basically you're a producer, and you also collected a number of top producers, artists, and you got guys from guys like Denny White from The Fray, Anthony Ressa from Duran Duran, Collective Soul, and you also got Jay Condiotti, Next Top Model, Scorekeepers, and you also got Jake Newton of Sleeping Wolf, and all these people coming together and just simply being collective. And you also got BLAZAR. You're also going around as an independent artist and a lot more. You also got your debut album. You also got some new releases, and I mean, you just really come things together. Maybe you can explain in a nutshell. Before we get into all that, tell us how I first got started.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing music my whole life, man. I come from a musical family, and that's just kind of the only thing I've really ever been doing. I signed my first deal in 2008, and I kind of toured around the country as Jerad Finck for a while. And then this BLAZAR thing was just a new kind of reimagining of everything that I wanted to do, and kind of collaborations with all of the people I've been working with, over the last few years. So we kind of formed this collective where we just get kind of all my producer friends and myself, and we just build projects and kind of just do whatever we want. And it caught the interest of Tom Sarek over at Anti-Fragile Music, and he signed the group, and so we've been putting tracks out, and I think we have 4 singles out now. I'm just about to drop the new BLAZAR single, which is a collab with Afro Man, the rapper from the 90s who sang Because I Got High. So we're real excited about that one. And yeah, I mean, that's kind of it. It's a whole new thing, and we're real excited about it, man. It's a whole new world, basically.
It sounds like a whole new world. And how'd you first come up with BLAZAR from the very beginning? What was that one moment that somebody said, this is what we're going to do? So how did that first come about, like from the very in the beginning?
Well, it was kind of my own coming out, because I'm an alien, and I was like pretending to be Jerad Finck, to fit in with all the humans. And this BLAZAR is my actual name. So we just wanted to come out and let the world know. And that's the story, at least that we're running with. So.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing. Now take me to your leader, will you?
Yeah, we're here. So.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And of course, what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your life? Not just BLAZAR, but with your career in general.
I think it all. I had a song that I put out independently, around 2014 or 13. It was called Runaway, as Jerad Finck, and it just really took off on its own. It was like a true kind of organic radio hit. We charted in 3 formats, and we sold a bunch of records, and we kind of toured all over. And at that time, we had a small indie label that was attached to us, but we didn't really have any kind of infrastructure. We were mailing boxes of CDs out of my apartment at the time, and calling the radio stations, and doing it all just super like grassroots. And that kind of brought in the larger players that we're working with now. And then that was just a really pivotal moment. And it was just because the thing was so organic, right? It was a very just grassroots movement of just driving around the country and like meeting people and talking about, the song that was on the radio, because for the most part, no one even knew who it was. And we had a whole like education process, even telling people that this song was us. So it was a very strange, organic kind of backwards thing that really doesn't happen a whole lot anymore. And so for me, that was just the moment where I was like, okay, this is it. This is the path that we're supposed to be on. And I've just been doing it really ever since then. And it's been pretty exciting.
So what prompted you to do the organic grassroots move instead of doing the way like with social media? So how did that come about?
Well, I mean, it was social media, and it was just organic, and grassroots just means like we didn't have, a big team around us. It was something that just really kind of happened out of nowhere. I ended up getting some syncs with the song on like ESPN. They used it for the playoffs, the Major League Baseball playoffs that year. And then there was like the US Open, they used it for that. And then it got used in a bunch of other movies and TV shows. And it just kind of just happened. We didn't have anyone representing us. We didn't have any kind of team or infrastructure. It was just kind of blew up everywhere, and we didn't know what we were doing. And we were just chasing the song around. Like we started like tracking radio stations that were playing it. So if we ever, saw a station in Texas that was playing it, we'd get in our van and just drive down to Texas and go talk to the program director. Like, hi, I'm Jerad. You're playing my song. And thank you. I mean, it was literally that. That's what I meant by grassroots. It was very like we drove around to every station in the country and like met all the program directors, and they told them like, we don't have a label or management. We don't really have anything, and we're just kind of running with it right now. So, and then obviously that stuff kind of came as the song started charting more, and like we started selling more. Then we brought on like a radio team, and then we got signed to like our first like real label deal that kind of like projected us to where we are now, and brought on some managers and kind of like filled the team out. But it was, there was about 3 months there when it was just utter chaos, and no one in the band could really understand what was happening. So we were just kind of like chasing daylight, I think is the saying. And we've just been running ever since then. And, yeah.
And then how'd you come up with the name BLAZAR? Or tell us the story behind about coming up with that name.
BLAZAR. I mean, and that was literally kind of it. When I made the switch over from Jerad Finck, I wanted to be more. I didn't want to be like trapped into that like singer-songwriter pigeonhole that happens, and I was, to be fair, at the time. I mean, I was a guy with my acoustic guitar kind of running around the country, and I hadn't really got like that deep into production. I've grown up in studios. I've been in them my whole life. I've been working in them my whole life, but I hadn't ever really produced my own music. I was always terrified of that, because I'm a crazy OCD perfectionist. So like those sessions could go on forever. It will never be good enough type of thing. So I eventually just decided to do it. And I created this whole like thing about this alien that was coming to Earth to like spread his sounds with all of his friends, and that's what a blazar is. It's a, quasar that's pointed at Earth and it's shooting its electromagnetic rays at Earth, which was kind of the imagery that we were going for. And we just ran with it and started putting out these songs, and they're all just completely unique, crazy productions that we spend months on, as opposed to doing songs in a day. Like we really spend a lot of time, producing this with like all of my friends, and like Mark Needham, is a big mixer who does like a lot of my mixes, and Steven Solomon was like one of my big writing partners and producing partners, like Denny White, you said, and a bunch of other guys. And there's just a whole crew of us, and every song's different. Every song kind of has a life of its own. And it's just been like, I think the culmination of everything that I've ever really wanted to do in music is what BLAZAR was. And for me, that was the most important thing, is just to really do what I wanted, because I hadn't really done that yet. When you get like a real label deal and you kind of like get stuck into a sound, that's kind of what that label deal is.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so this project, I got this deal from Annie Fragile under Tom Sarek, and he told me, he was like, I just love like you being creative and just go create. And he gave me kind of carte blanche, and he's been super supportive, and really the best kind of musical relationship I think I've ever had in my life. He's always there and just wants me to kind of do what I do. And that's just opened up all these creative avenues, and we're collaborating with all kinds of people. And it's a really exciting project and a lot of fun.
It sounds very exciting too. And you also had a really good foundation as well too. And who are some of your favorite artists, singers, and musicians growing up?
I was a Beatles maniac. I also grew up on a farm, so like I was inundated with country and then like lyricism and like the basic tenets of like songwriting. So that was always like a deep anchor for me, even though I wasn't a big country fan. Like I really had a large appreciation for just how songs are constructed. My personal favorites are like Tom Petty and the Beatles, obviously, and the classics, Simon and Garfunkel, and like pretty much anyone that really focuses on songwriting, like Brandon Flowers from the Killers, like any of these guys that just really put the time into crafting the song, because there's so much just kind of like cookie cutter nonsense. And I'm definitely a purist around lyrics and how things are put together.
You seem really interested in lyrics and songwriting and everything else. And who are some of your favorite songwriters growing up, and who are some of your favorite current songwriters right now?
I think my favorite guys, like I said, Brandon Flowers is probably like the newest guy that really kind of connected with me. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of The Weeknd and like any of this kind of like synthwave stuff that's going around, because that's kind of where I'm living right now. And I was a big fan of like the 80s stuff and the Duran Durans and like Erasure and Savage Garden and like all that kind of like synth stuff. And then like earlier before that, my favorite songwriters like Lennon McCartney and Simon and Garfunkel and those kind of guys.
That's very interesting as well too. I'll talk about your latest material as well too at BLAZAR and more. But first, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international award-winning author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is an illusion and those you love be the first to go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forrest Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today for Girls Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Picture This Photo Books, where remembering is a key ingredient. How beautiful your mother looked at her wedding, and even more so at yours. And who doesn't miss grandma's meatballs, huh? Well, the holidays are coming. What better time to give a gift for remembrance that makes you laugh, cry, all at the same time? Whether a gift for grandma's recipes or just because, those smiles and tears will just melt your heart. Call Karen Shaw at Picture This Photo Books at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotobooks.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Picture This Photo Books. Bring your memories back to life. The whimsical, casual, or formal, and always uniquely you. And don't forget to check out the Mike Wagner Show on all 30 podcast platforms. Take the Mike Wagner Show at any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter today, and check out the Mike Widener Show merchandise at the MikeWidenerShow.com. Also on Amazon.com at the Mike Widener Show podcast, t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, and a lot more. Makes great gifts 24/7. And don't forget to check out the Me and Most and Dia store on Amazon for great books and more. Check it out today. And also, don't forget to support us on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWidenerShow.com. Make sure you donate generously today. We're here with the very multi-talented Jerad Finck of BLAZAR here on the Mike Widener Show. Simply a collective of top producers, artists, writers, and collaborating with a lot of great projects. Let's talk about your debut release, titled track. You also have Better, New Kids, Tomorrow, and a lot more. Tell us more about those songs, and if you got the others as well too, feel free to talk about as well.
Yeah, so Better was kind of like the start of the whole BLAZAR stuff. And honestly, when we first started like working on that one, it was a track for a television show, because I do a lot of composing commission work for various networks and movies and things, and that one just kind of came out of that, and it just started propelling this whole thing, and that was the one that led to the deal. And Tom Sarek, actually, it was a really funny story. Like, he literally just heard it on Spotify. It was one of those stories like, I'm just gonna call this guy, and he sent me an email, and he did, and we really hit it off, and that's just kind of what started the project. So New Kids was the end of like the Jerad Finck stuff. So there was like a little bit of crossover, and you could kind of start hearing I was going into this like synth thing, and I just got addicted. So now my entire house is just full of all these like archaic 80s synths and just retro things that have no purpose for most people, but I've just became obsessed with them, and started a huge collection, because I wanted to kind of like use some of those old like sounds and integrate them with like a lot of the new like digital manipulations, and just kind of like let people hear stuff in a new way that they really haven't heard before. And that's kind of like where I stemmed all the sounds from. And every song that comes out by BLAZAR is a different collab. Like, there's no real like overall direction. It's just kind of like creativity and spontaneity, and just collaborating with other like really, really talented songwriters and people that have been really successful in the industry, in a way that we can, a lot of people don't really understand kind of the way the industry is now, and I do a lot of ghostwriting production for other artists as well. And typically, like, the system is, an artist will fly in, or a signee, or whomever, and they'll sit in the room with us, and like we'll write the song, and then we'll produce it out, and then like send it in, and that day is like the track. And that's kind of like how it is. It's a very streamlined kind of low-dough model now. It's not like what you read about in the 60s or the 70s, where the band sat in the studio for a month and like really crafted this stuff out, and really kind of let the music go where it could go. That was what I wanted to do with BLAZAR, is kind of go back to that. So I gathered all of my friends and things that I'd been working with, as Jerad Finck, and brought them into the studio. And then that's what we did. We just kind of hung out and worked on these tracks, and they go crazy places, but they're all really, founded in basic like kind of pop principles, because that's where we all come out of. But we just wanted to really just let things go. And the reaction's been, overwhelming, to say the least. It's I've only put, I think, 4 tracks out now from this project, and it's the following and the support from the fans. It's just been overwhelming. It was interesting watching, all of my singer-songwriter people from Jerad Finck kind of see this new synth guy. But it's definitely where my heart is. I've kind of always been headed this way, and it just took me a minute to get there. And I finally feel like I'm like in my stride, and doing the things that I want to do as an artist, and still like focus on like societal issues, and kind of like the nerve or pinpoint things that we're all dealing with, but in a way that is, not so preachy, but just more hopefully asking people to think about things, and start those conversations. And New Kids was like that whole thing, and that kind of started that movement. And then Better, and from forward there, they've all these tracks have just kind of been that kind of a thing. So.
You talked about going back to the days of the 60s and 70s, where a band would sit in a month and actually craft a really perfect song, unlike today, where they just like, throw it through synth tracks and say, okay, this is it. It's all streamlined. Do you think the 60s and 70s is going to make a comeback very soon, or is it going to take some time to adjust? Or do you think people are just simply accustomed to the fact that, here's a few, there you go, and it's like, it's instant?
No, I think it is transitioning. And I think that, like, my success is just kind of like a small indicator of this, because we're seeing it everywhere. It's, Spotify and all these streaming services, they obviously get a lot of hate, but there's also a good kind of thing that came out of that. And that's just like fans are able to go and find the music that they want now instead of being force-fed music by the radio or by the labels or whomever's paying for those playlists that we all are forced to listen to in our car. And you're seeing these artists that pop out of everywhere, that are just amazing, that are crafting these things. And that's what made those bands in the 60s and 70s so amazing, is because that's what it was. It's like a band was coming through town, and if you were into them, you'd go to the show. You didn't have these like massive commercial vessels that were just ramming this stuff down your throat. And we've kind of come full circle in this open source, and that's kind of what my own jargon for, but it's just like an open source environment for musicians. I mean, I think there's a saturation problem right now where there's just so much stuff, but there's also this really cool thing where acts are just coming out of nowhere, and really developing an identity. And like Billie Eilish was a great example of this. I mean, she just popped out of nowhere, and it was this wholly driven thing that came out of a sound that people just really attached to. Obviously the commercialism glommed onto it the first chance that they had, but the start of it, there was something really pure about that. And there's something going on all across the music industry in this same vein, and that's the same thing that we've tapped into. Like we completely like ignored commercial radio and that whole side of it, and we have a massive following behind us now. And it's all just people on Spotify that are like looking for something new and refreshing and interesting. And that's what music's supposed to be. It's just human expression. And we all start doing the same expression, it gets really boring, right? So
right.
I feel like we have gone full circle, and that we're seeing like guitar players come back, and like musicianship come back, and like songwriters come back, and like the wittiness of the lyric, and like all this kind of stuff is coming back because now we all have the freedom to do it. And the one thing I think that the streaming and all the internet and the enmeshment of all of us being connected has shown is that people are really starving for that. Like they want more substance to their music. And I think that's a really good thing that's come out of all of this shuffle that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm. It's rather interesting to talk about lyrics as well, too, having substance. What else you base your lyrics on when it comes to BLAZAR, or like say with their creativity? What else you guys base your lyrics on, especially creativity?
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was BLAZAR kind of being the space entity. It was more of like I was trying to like observe Earth, or observe humanity, and then talk about what it would look like just kind of like observing that. And obviously it's a really hard thing to do because I'm on Earth, but I mean, in my own head, that was the idea. It was like we could talk about things, from a third person kind of perspective of what it would look like, from the outside, and just kind of like that whole thing, because there's just so many nerve points, especially right now with all the stuff going on everywhere. It's like there's a lot of commentary that needs to document, I think, this time in history, and it feels like the relevance of that is something that we're all living through in real time. I mean, these are really unprecedented times that we've all been through. I mean, I wrote most of this record during COVID in the basement in lockdown, right? So it's a crazy time to be alive, and it's a crazy time to just kind of experience all this. And that's what I wanted to really explore, was just like the humanity of no one really knows what's going on, and it's all kind of new, and obviously no one's been through anything like this before, and it's just getting more and more chaotic. Like we're outside of whatever normal was. Like I feel like that I don't know that there's ever any going back to that. It feels like we're kind of on a different tangent now, and things are just going to be different. And for me, that was what I wanted this project to be, was this kind of like real time people watching, observing in the conscious, or the zeitgeist, the stream of consciousness type stuff.
Wow, that's rather interesting. And where can we find all your music at?
Just go to BLAZAR, BLAZAR. You can find me on Spotify or pretty much anywhere. Or just look up Jerad Finck BLAZAR. But there's everything's on the internet for everyone. So if you just Google stuff, you'll find us.
We certainly will do so, even if it's alien language. So, and what's coming for Jerad Finck of BLAZAR in 2021? We'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Widener Show at the MikeWidenerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at SoundCloudStudios.com for all your needs. Also brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Widener Show, international warring author Mia Molson of Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Also brought to you by Picture This Photo Books. Remembering is a key ingredient. Call Karen Shaw at 646-798-0809 or visit picturethisphotoBooks.com. And we'll be back with the amazing multi-talented Jerad Finck of BLAZAR after this time out. We're back with the amazing, multi-talented singer-songwriter Jerad Finck of BLAZAR here on the Mike Wagner Show, and he's done a wonderful job of collecting top producers, artists, and writers, and collabing to make some great music. And he's got some works out there. Jerad Finck, BLAZAR, however you call it. He's all over the place. And what else can we expect from you in 2021 and beyond, Jerad?
Just a ton more. Like COVID was a kind of an incubation period for me. I literally stayed in my basement the whole time.
Oh my gosh, how
It
am
got,
I be able to do that?
it got pretty hairy there for a minute. There's no doubt, but I definitely like kind of like went into this creative space, and we've created a ton of tracks, and like there's a ton of collaborations that we're about to drop. And Anti-Fragile has been super supportive, and they're coming in really hard, to support all this new stuff. And we're just about to put it all out. Like it's kind of like we dribbled a little. I think we put out 4 or 5 songs so far, but we've got a ton of stuff. And on top of that, BLAZAR is we're a production and writing team, so we've got tons of other songs for other artists, that are out there that are not under BLAZAR, like He Was and Bray. And we're doing the new Afro Man record, and I just did a song for Corey Feldman. We're just out there, doing, kind of spreading our love and our appreciation for the art form in the best way that we know how.
That's so amazing. Looking forward to it. And who do you consider your biggest influence in your career?
Oh man, I mean, I always go back to the Beatles. I know that's such a cop out answer, but I really am just a maniac. I used to, when I was doing my music theory stuff in college, I would just sit and like pull apart all these Beatles tracks and like understand the progressions and just the brilliance behind all the melodies and the counterpoint. There was something just like naturally brilliant about them, that was like, equivalent to, Bach or any of these other guys that just naturally wrote in music theory, because music theory is just our observation of what makes music good. But when you like start really breaking down, there's some like really universal things that pop out of all these artists. And Paul and John, like absolutely, for whatever reason, just were there, and they just did it naturally. And there's just this kind of beauty to it. So I was always a huge fan, and Rubber Soul's my favorite album. So
Oh, that has to be one of the classics as well, too. Just so amazing. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
my advice is just don't quit. The music business or anything, it's a marathon and not a sprint. I've been making a living at this for about a decade now, and a good living. And I'm not Beyonce, and you don't have to be either. As long as you could, there's space out here for everyone if you just stick with it and do it, and do it to the best of your abilities.
Hmm.
So
That's very important as well, too. Once again, Jerad Finck of BLAZAR here on the Mike Wagner Show. Very multi-talented. A very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic, Jerad. Looking forward to having you again soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back in 2021 beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music?
yeah, just please go to BLAZAR. Google it. Find me on Instagram. My Instagram is actually just at Jerad Finck. My name's spelled like an asshole. It's JeradFinck. So if you spell everything wrong, you'll find me. BLAZAR is BLAZAR. If you put any of the combination of that stuff together, you'll find me. I'm the one on the social networks. It's me. Like, come talk to me. I love to interact with everyone. I love doing collabs with people. I'm here, and I just want to interact with everyone. So
Certainly looking forward to it. Once again, Jerad, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having soon. Do us a favor, keep us up to date. Love you back in 2021 and beyond. Don't forget to keep in touch. You've been absolutely terrific, and we definitely wish you all the best and safe travels wherever you're at.
thank you so much for having me, man. It's been an honor.